say that the Catalina is a somewhat ungainly looking aircraft. Now the correct description for this aircraft is not a flying boat, although the original versions were certainly that. This is in fact an amphibian. It being able to land, as you can see, on a hard surface as well as being able to land on the sea. These aircraft were used largely in the air-sea rescue role. In fact, this particular aircraft carries the markings of Miss Pick Up. The original Miss Pick Up was based at Halesworth in Suffolk. During wartime, Britain was in peril of losing its supplies that were making their way across the Atlantic. And in fact, Winston Churchill said that the one thing that really terrified him was the prospect of being overcome by the U-boat threat. And Catalinas, together with liberators, helped to cover the gap in the Atlantic where those U-boats used to prowl in their wolf packs. Here you can see the floats have been lowered. I have to say, I think this is a really attractive aircraft. It's not everybody's taste, of course, but I think it has a certain elegance.
Definitely does. It was a very innovative design, this, in a lot of ways, by the Consolidated Company when they came up with this new patrol bomber and anti-submarine platform. It's got, for example, what's known as a wet wing, which means it's got fuel tankage within the wing. And that led to a considerable overall weight saving, as well as helping clean the lines up, meaning there was no need for large bulging fuel tankage elsewhere on the airframe. And the retractable wingtip float, which we can see being retracted right now, further contributed to the low drag, and thus increased the aircraft's range and performance.
And that huge barn door of a wing would give it that lift that it would need. This is not a particularly manoeuvrable aircraft. I hear that the pilots say that flying this aircraft, it's a bit like you move the yoke, go and make a cup of tea, and then you'll feel the aircraft start to move. So it is certainly rather ungainly to fly.
But nonetheless, it can, as we can see, turn very steeply and turn very tightly. And that was often an attribute that would have been used in wartime while engaged in lower level missions.
This particular aircraft, you can see the glass domes on the side. They are actually oversized. The original domes would have been much smaller than that, and that's part of its role that it fulfilled as part of aerial survey in its previous incarnation.
Yeah, this aircraft was heavily modified. The original fuselage side blisters would of course also had machine guns.
Yes.
This one was at one stage heavily modified. I think it was for a proposed African holidaying venture that didn't actually happen, as with African aerial safaris, and they're a relic of that, but they do give an absolutely brilliant view out when this aircraft goes on its cross-country sorties between displays and out to Biscarrosse, for example, in France, where they do a lot of their water training, because this aircraft regularly operates from water at events where it's possible to do so.
And it's operated by plain sailing, a consortium of private pilots that have the opportunity to fly this aircraft, as long as you have the correct rating, of course, and you pass their rather extensive flying program.
Yes.
You can actually fly this aircraft personally.
Yes, it's a shareholder setup. In the seat with Richie Piper as the co-pilot. As Colin said, it's in the colours of an aircraft of the US Army Air Forces from the 5th Emergency Rescue Squadron at Halesworth, which was used for air sea rescue. At that stage, it was picking up downed airmen from the waters around the UK that was the air sea rescue role. It was only post-war that civilian casualties would also be rescued. This was a service that had been established by the RAF earlier in World War II with the likes of the submarine Walrus, another amphibious type. Not until 1945 were sufficient Catalinas made available to the US Army Air Forces, having seen most of their wartime service up to then with the likes of the US Navy, the RAF, Royal Canadian Air Force and other allied nations, to make available this provision of air sea rescue by the US 8th Air Force. That came about at